now I get it. I get what it's like to look in the mirror and just be so disgusted in something that you see and then try and show up in life. Like when you feel like that, it's like so super hard. That was where my passion grew, to help women, especially, not have to feel this way, because we don't have to feel this way. And it's a fucking hard journey.
What's up, my little love buckets? Welcome back to another episode of the JD Remedy. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I am really excited to have you guys back on another episode. I have a special guest today. Her name is Mardi Mandersloot. She is actually a health and fitness coach who helps women with body confidence and mindset connection. But I really wanted to get her on the episode today because she is actually a Pink Hope ambassador. So this helps women who have possibly been going through the BRCA2 gene mutation. So this mutation, if it runs in someone's family, it gives them a higher chance of breast or cervical cancer. Now, as females, I think it's really important that we openly talk about this topic. And Mardi actually shares an incredible story of undergoing a mastectomy where she had both of her breasts removed at a young age, and just what that meant for her and her confidence, her body confidence, the way that she felt about herself and her mindset, and how she actually got through that. It is such an incredible story, and I'm very grateful that she shared it with us today. So I hope today inspires you to go get your gals checked out. Let's look after each other, and let's make sure that we make this topic a really important one that we can openly and comfortably talk about and support each other through. So without further ado, here is Mardi. Thank you so much for being on the show with me today. I am joined by the beautiful Mardi from the Pink Hope Foundation. How are you, my love?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm really well. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. I know we've had lots of conversations off camera just about your incredible journey and being an ambassador and what that means for other women, and sharing your story and being the beautiful, supportive person that you are. So I'd love for you to tell the listeners a little bit about your story and where you've come from and how you've got to this position.
Oh, all right. So the gene mutation, so the BRCA2 gene mutation is really strong in our family. So there's many different gene mutations, but I'm just going to talk about the one that we've got experience with today.
So many of them.
So many. So two of my aunties have passed away from breast cancer, and my mum has battled breast cancer as well. And when we lost Annie Hev, from her secondary cancer, my cousin, she decided to go on a bit of a journey as to find out about genetic testing. And at that time, there wasn't really much about it. I think the Angelina Jolie thing had come out, but it wasn't there wasn't really many avenues to have genetic testing, and it wasn't easily accessible. So yeah, Hale set out on this journey it took about, I think it was 2 to 3 years to be able to get her testing done. Yeah. And eventually, long story short, eventually she was called up to have some genetic testing done, and it come back that she was BRCA2 positive. So if you're not familiar with BRCA2, it increases your chances of breast and ovarian cancer. And once she found out she was positive, she didn't really know what to do with that. And she was referred to the Olivia Newton-John Clinic in Melbourne. And she had further testing done, and they have genetic cancers and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a process, and they sit down and talk to you about your options of what you can potentially do to reduce your risks of breast and ovarian cancer. So she did that and elected to have a mastectomy. after losing her mum. So she went down that path, and during this time, she took my mum in with her for appointments, and mum ended up she thought, well, I may as well get tested for the genetic mutation as well. And basically, Haley's our little angel of the family, because during this time, when mum was being tested for the genetic mutation, they found breast cancer in her left breast.
Wow.
Yeah. So then mum went down the path as well. So obviously, she had mastectomy and started her treatment. And then during this time of her treatment, I ended up going in and having some testing done as well, and it come back for me that I was positive.
Aww.
So at this time, I was 32, I think, when I first found out. Mum was sort of in, I guess, all the journey of having cancer is hard, but mum was sort of at this, like, a bit of a tough place in her treatment as well. So I think Jackson must have been about 2 at the time. And I just thought to myself, when I found out that I was positive, like, my decision was a no-brainer. I just thought to myself, I don't want to go through this again. And I don't want my boys to have to go through what we were going through with mum, if I could do something about it. So I decided to have a mastectomy. And I obviously watched my cousin go through all of this, and she just took it in her stride. She was absolutely amazing, just strong, inspiring. She's got 3 kids of her own, so it wasn't an easy path for her either. And so I knew it was big, like I knew the surgery was big, but I guess I kind of just went into it like, after watching her, I just thought it kind of was going to be a little bit easier than what it was. Kind of like a boob job, but it's so not, like, so far
For anyone, sorry to interrupt, Marty.
Oh,
So for
right.
anyone that doesn't know, a mastectomy is where they remove your breasts, right? Is there more of like a medical explanation than that, or they just literally remove everything?
Yeah, so all breast tissue, milk ducts, everything's removed. For me, even my nipples were removed, where you can have a nipple sparing mastectomy. So they put your nipples back on.
Right. That makes sense.
I opted not to do this because my mum's cancer was in her nipple, and I just thought, if I was going through all this, then I like, just take as much as you can, kind of thing.
Yeah, in the one go.
Yeah. So there my journey started. So once I got my first appointment for the big surgery, so for the full mastectomy, I've never had boobs. I've always been quite flat-chested all my life. Even when I was breastfeeding, I still didn't really, I wasn't really blessed.
Like, now is my time, and it's not happening.
So when my surgeon was going over everything with me, he said to me that he would need to put expanders in, because I didn't really have anything that he could, like, in regards to implants at this point in time. The smaller implants, there weren't like a big sort of range kind of thing. So he said to me, we'll need to expand the skin. And then I just opted for, like, I can't even remember the size now. I think it's like a B or something. Natural. No, I didn't want big ones. It just looked funny on me. Anyway, so we did all that. I went in. So June 2018, I went in, had my surgeries, everything removed, expanders went straight in. So basically I had nothing on my chest for the first, ended up being 8 months. And I just had, because I opted for no nipples, so I just had, like, basically 2 scars across my chest and nothing.
What's an expander?
Expander is, so it's kind of like a like you blow up pool tubes. This is
Yeah.
like a non-medical term.
No, that's
It's
cool.
kind of
Yeah.
like
I've got a visual.
they it goes in flat. It's like this flat little thing, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like the shape of an implant.
Yeah.
And over time, so every month I would go and get an expansion. So they put a needle in and put air into it. And slowly
I'm picturing you going out like every month they'd go and they'd blow my pool up, like they'd pump it up.
oh, Jackson, during when I was getting my expansion done, Jackson one day at
Oh
Kinder
God bless.
said to one of the Kinder mums, she's like, "Oh, where's mum today?" And Jackson's like, "Oh, she's just down in Melbourne getting her boobs pumped up."
It's just like my stomach is like
So cute. I don't mean
Oh
to
my
make fun of your
God.
situation. That's so cute. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so
Okay, cool.
expanders went in and I was in hospital for I think it was I think it was like a week or something. I was in because we're 2 hours from Melbourne, so they kept me in a bit longer just for observations and stuff. Sent me home, that was fine. 2 days later I didn't know at the time, but I got sepsis. So in my left breast, I had a home nurse coming and stuff like that. And my left breast was like a bright, hot red.
Wow.
Yeah, but I wasn't sick as such. I just had this red breast. And she said, "Oh, I'm not really happy with this. I'm going to email your surgeon and see what he says." So it was like a Friday, I remember. And they emailed him and he's like, "Nah, come back down, pack a bag because you might have to stay."
Oh my God.
So we went back down to Melbourne. Being a Friday afternoon, by the time we eventually got there, they just put me on a ward and popped me on IV antibiotics because they didn't really know what was going on. And then it basically took 8 days. On the 8th day of being in hospital, I just wanted to go home.
8 days.
Oh, it was crazy. And my poor surgeon, he is so amazing. Had the best team looking after me. And he ended up coming in. He's like, "Look, Marty, I'm just going to have to take you back into surgery because I just can't work out what's going on. And I don't want to send you home because my gut's just telling me that's not the right thing to do." So, basically I went back into surgery that night and he said, "Lucky I did because my body was having a reaction." So you get this mesh that holds your muscle over there. At that time, it was an expander. So my muscle was over the expander and the mesh connected it and my body just rejected it. So it was like eating away, like moths eating away. Yeah. He said it was, crazy.
Is that common or no?
No, not common. No.
Oh my God.
No.
Wow.
Anyway, so it was lucky because then it was like a sepsis. He said like that's why it was so red. And I think just all we can put it down to, because he's like, "You should have been so sick." Like every morning I'd get up, read my book, walk around the hospital. I was just doing my own heading because I didn't have a fever. I wasn't lethargic. I was starting to go a bit crazy. I think just everything was starting to sink in, like just I had too much time to think, I think, because everyone else, all the family at that time, it was winter, so everyone had the flu. No one could come down to visit, kind of thing. So I started to, that was probably where I started to spiral downhill. But anyway, once he did that surgery, flushed everything out, changed everything. So we put new expanders in, changed the mesh. And after that surgery, I woke up with without the brain fog. Like I didn't, you know how you sometimes don't know how shit you feel until you feel better. And I think, I realized, I was like, oh, I wasn't in a really good place. Like my head was foggy and stuff like that, but I wasn't actually physically ill. So anyway, we did that surgery and I think it was 3 days later I was allowed to go home. And that delayed the expansion, which is what I was telling you about before, where they pump your boobs up because the skin was so red and angry, I guess, that we couldn't expand it because we just didn't know what the skin would do. Yeah, so I went home after that, and yeah, like I said, in the hospital I started to sort of spiral a little bit, like just into like a depression victim. Like, you know, I was trying to make a decision to better my health, and here I was,
Yeah.
back in hospital, you know. Yeah, so I kind of started beating myself up about that. And then because we couldn't start expansion and reconstruction, I was just like, didn't like the way I looked. And yeah, it was just like a really, really tough time, really. And then February the following year, I was able to go in for my reconstruction surgery. So that was like June to Feb. After my reconstruction surgery, and the recovery from that, I realized, like, I could see that my mindset had taken like a massive shift. Like, as a health and fitness coach, it's something that I do every day, which is coaching people from A to B. And I was just going like 20 steps backwards every single day. Just yeah, just felt useless. I just, you know, I couldn't picture how I could be sexy anymore, like how my husband could even want to look at me. And yeah, and I actually had an aha moment. It actually made me go from a I guess like an ego health and fitness coach to a compassionate one, because I finally got it. Like, I finally got what it felt like to look in the mirror, and just one thing that I didn't like, that in turn changed my whole perception on everything. Like how, like, that I felt like I wasn't the best role model as a mum, felt like I wasn't living up to my expectations of what it was to be a wife, a friend, like preferred not to go out, felt like a fake. I'd go to work and coach women through exactly what I was going through, but I wasn't being honest, so I wasn't ready to open up about how I was actually feeling. So I felt like I was going into the studio, saying one thing, and then going home and wanting to basically crawl into a corner and cry, sort of thing. And you know, yeah, so that was really, really tough. But it just, yeah, now I get it. I get what it's like to look in the mirror and just be so disgusted in something that you see. And once I started my recovery from reconstruction, and these thoughts and these feelings were getting worse or harder to deal with, like I couldn't pretend anymore, I thought to myself, I'm like, right, what would I do if I was a client? And in that moment, I was like, okay, I could either choose to sit here and feel sorry for myself and not live up to everything that I am and who I want to be and the way I want to be, or I can get help. Like, I obviously couldn't do it on my own. Yes, I knew all the stuff. Everyone knows all the stuff. We all know what we need to do or what we don't need to do, but it's doing it. That's the hardest part. So I needed help to do that. And I guess I'd never been in that place of disgust before, like just to really really not like what I see, and then try and show up in life. Like, when you feel like that, it's like so super hard. So yeah, from then, that was where my passion grew to one, actually help people. Like, you know, I was already helping people, but to help women especially not have to feel this way, because we don't have to feel this way. And it's a fucking hard journey to come from feeling so shit and so disgusted with yourself to come out the other end. But in the same breath, I'm so grateful for this journey, because I get it. Like, I get it. Like, not everyone's journey is the same, but I know what it's like to be down in this hole that you cannot see the light. And then it's just slowly crawling up and out and back into your purpose. Like, you know, you lose yourself. And I guess it's something that you go through. It doesn't even have to be a surgery, even just having kids or losing a job or you know, whatever it may be. Sometimes we lose sight of who it is that we are and what our purpose is. And when we lose that, it's so easy to pick at ourselves, to, you know, just really feel shit and not motivated. Like, you might know that you've got to eat better or you've got to exercise or whatever it is. You might know that, but to be able to do that when you feel so isolated, alone, sad, frustrated, you know, all those things, to come out the other end is quite hard. So yeah, that's where I obviously became a Pink Hope ambassador as well, because I just thought if I can share my story and help other women, whether they choose to have a mastectomy for you know, to try and prevent cancer, or whether they've been sick or whatever it may be, even if it's out of their control, like because there's so many people that go through it. I'm just so passionate about helping these women through that journey. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that story. That is incredible. And you've just endured so much physically, mentally. Talk me through the mindset of that decision process of saying yes to a mastectomy, because the way that you told your story, that was kind of like a no-brainer. It was, I have to do this. It seems really simple. Yep. And then after it came all of the sorrow of losing your breasts and not liking what you see in the mirror and all of that heartache. So what was your mindset at the time when you decided to get the mastectomy?
So yeah, my mindset at the time was just do it. Like I didn't think I thought I was ready. I thought I thought that it was going to be a walk in the park. I truly did. But I also understood that if I was going to go through this surgery, and I think probably my background as well as being a health and fitness coach is knowing that I need to support my decision. So yes, okay, I'm getting these breasts off, but what else do I need to do? What do I need to work through? And emotion was one of the things that I needed to work through. And that was the first thing that I avoided for a year and a half. I suppressed. And and just tried to pretend, I guess, like just wear that mask, like, you know, I felt like I did that because of my profession. And I thought if I was honest and if I told anyone how I felt, like, then that's another thing I'm shit at. Like I felt like I'd failed at being a mother because I had so many weeks where I couldn't lift, I couldn't even open a baby Panadol sort of thing, you know. And then I felt like I was failing as a wife because I just didn't like the way I looked anymore. And I felt like I was failing as just a friend, or, you know, just in the community, because I didn't want to show up anymore because I felt like a fake. So the mindset went from I've got this to like just like it just went out the window. It absolutely, the mindset was victim, basically. I was letting my surgery define who I was. I was letting my looks define who I was, and I was letting the genetic mutation define who I was. And once I learned that that actually doesn't define who I am, I choose who I am, then that made the difference, and that helped me to get through on the other side.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. And do you think, obviously, making such a huge decision, I think, what do you think it was the suppressing of the emotion that it came down so hard on you afterwards, because you were kind of avoiding having to deal with anything and putting up this front as a health and fitness coach? What do you think that experience would have been like if you weren't a health and fitness coach, do you think you still would have tried to show up as this person, like, I know I've got this, I'm not emotional, like what would that have been different for you?
Great question. I don't think I would be where I am today. I really don't. I think like growing up, I had the tendency to go into victim mode, I could be quite negative, fiery, like I had that, and I still have it. It's just that I have the tools now to not go down that path as much. So I think had I not had the coach hat on, I wouldn't, there's no way I would be where I am today. Like, because I wouldn't have opened up, I would not have asked for help, and I wouldn't have let the ones I love know that I was in such a bad place, and I would have probably ran from me, however that looks. I don't know. I don't think, I don't think I would have made the choices that I've made now, because for so long in that year and I think it was like a year and a bit where I was making those choices that kept me stuck, that kept me in the same mindset. Even when I first started to try and help myself, I'd sabotage it. So it was like, but I think I needed to do that. Like that helped me to learn, that helped me to get the tools that I needed to still use now, like today, kind of thing. So
and I think you're very fortunate to be in that position where you know where to go for help, or you as a coach have some sort of ability to empower yourself or have the courage to ask for help. And I think it's important to acknowledge that not everybody is in that position. And if you are ever in the position where you are faced with the decision to get a mastectomy, does Pink Hope, or in your situation, how thorough are they with talking you through the process of a mastectomy? Is there a lot of support afterwards? Talk me through that whole process for maybe people that are listening that don't have the skills and support that we do.
So there's so much support out there. Pink Hope is my number one for resources because they cover absolutely everything. So genetic testing, they have specialists that they do like little live events and stuff like that. So they do what you call a she shares event. There's lots of different little things that they do Australia-wide that help people that potentially may have the gene mutation, what to do next, that kind of thing. So they are great. They also do a thing where, so I was lucky enough to, I think it must have been about 3 years ago, I think. I was lucky enough to go on a girls' getaway, and you go with 8 other women from Pink Hope, and you share your stories and ask questions and all that kind of thing, and that was really nice. So that's great. They do different things like that, which is beneficial as well. And I know, and I can only speak for I went through the Austin in Melbourne or the Olivia Newton-John Wellness Centre.
Yeah. And
the resources and the support through them, like I still have support from the team in Melbourne today, like, I think it's 3 years later.
Yeah.
So, we're always having your follow-ups and stuff with implants anyway, but they have genetic counselors, psychologists, basically anything that you need access to. All you have to do is ask.
Probably good.
And Pink Hope's the same. So Pink Hope is, they've got a online community. You can jump in there, you can ask a good question, and no matter where you are, there is so many women that contribute and and help and put their little feedback or advice or whatever in there as well. And you just don't feel alone, like and you don't really realize how many people it affects until you're in a community like this, and you're just like, holy shit, like this is crazy.
I know you mentioned at the start of your journey, I'm not sure if you mentioned it when we were recording or before we started recording, but you were comparing the process to what your cousin had gone through, because she also had a mastectomy, and you said it was really easy for her, so you probably had no worries going into it. What was my question going to be? The difference between comparing yourself to her story and how she went through the process, and then hearing other women from Pink Hope talk about their stories. Did it feel good to you to know that perhaps other people had struggled a little bit? Because I know you mentioned once you heard their stories, you didn't feel alone. Was there like a really big difference between hearing your cousin's story and then hearing other women from Pink Hope talk about theirs?
Yes, yeah, it just kind of gives you that that comfort in knowing that not every journey is the same, and it's like anything in life, really, like and to stay in your own lane. So just take one day at a time, one step at a time, and you're your own unique person. So the way you're going to go through a surgery and recover from a surgery is going to be so different from the next person. And you know, and I did say that my cousin made it look so easy, but you know, she also would have had her struggles as well. She got 3 kids, you know, they had a lot going on, and but we only choose to see the good sides, like the sides that we want to happen to us. We choose to see that, and we don't see the big picture. So I had chosen to see all the good parts, which is great. However, I didn't prepare myself for when shit hit the fan. So
Interesting. Does the doctors or the surgeons give a lot of support, or do they kind of pre-frame, hey, this is how you might feel, or this is how your body's going to change, or anything like that, the surgeons?
I was so blessed with my surgeon. So Dr. Julian Liu, he has been amazing. Like so supportive. I answered any question, no question I ever felt like was a dumb question. When I come back in with the sepsis, he and his team would talk me through, like just go over whatever I needed to go over, and I did mention that, like, because most days I cried. So they were like they were telling me, you know, what they're doing, why they're doing it. Through the whole journey, that team was just absolutely amazing. And I am aware that some people don't have that experience with their surgeon. So if you can take anything from this part, it's like, don't just take one person's advice. I was lucky I met Julian at the start and absolutely loved him. I trusted him from the minute that I met him, and I just knew that I was in good hands. If you don't have that feeling, like get second opinions or third opinions or whatever it is, because this is like your body. This is like this is your everything. And if you're not feeling comfortable, and if you don't trust the surgeon that you're working with, like, don't just do it just because you've got to, like, just because you've decided to have the mastectomy. Shop around, you know.
You need to feel comfortable.
That's what you can say when you're looking for a surgeon.
Do a shop around.
And I'm sure there's many more surgeons out there that are like Julian and his team. But I am so super blessed with working with them through my whole journey, because like I said, not one moment did I ever have doubt, did I ever feel like they weren't telling me something. The whole time they were just amazing. So I was so lucky, and he would ask me what I wanted, and he delivered. Like I said, I didn't want big boobs. During the expansion phase, I remember it was like my second last expansion or something, and they felt big because I had gone from like nothing to, like, they were only B's, but they felt, I think they were B's anyway. They felt mad. So I walked out of the surgery, the room with me chest out and these like what I thought were
Literally.
big titties poking out. And I'm like, check these out, Julian. These are awesome.
That's so cool.
Which was not, because I was like, please don't give me big boobs. Like, I do not want to walk around with these big, massive things that, you know, just don't look right on me.
Yeah.
They obviously settle in, so they're fine. Like, they're not big now, but you know, you could have fun with him and or whoever was looking after me on the day, and loved them. So when you're going to have such an intimate surgery, I thoroughly recommend don't just settle. Like, if you don't feel right, find someone who you just vibe with and just trust, because it's massive. You know, you go in, it's so daunting. I remember having the gown on and they're drawing all the lines over my chest where they were going to, what they were going to do actually meant nothing to me. But, you know, you're kind of standing there in front of a team of people, like every day, there's like 8 to 10 to 15 people looking at your boobs or lack thereof. And, you know, so you've got to feel comfortable. 100% you do.
Wow. Yeah, I'm really happy that you had that support, because like you said, it's so important, and I'm glad that you reiterated that. Just trust your gut. If something feels off or you need to feel comfortable, it's such an invasive kind of traumatic experience as well, so it would be so important having the right support around you. So that's really good. I wanted to have you on today because I think it's so important that we talk about this kind of stuff more, because you had the idea that your surgery would go really well. You're like, the bad surgery won't happen to me. But a lot of people have the idea that cancer won't happen to me, you know, like it literally comes out of nowhere. So I know you went and got tested for your mutated genes and all that stuff after your cousin brought it up, but were you getting regular checks or anything before it was brought to your family's attention, or what was that process like?
No, I wasn't doing anything before that. I probably didn't really care until I become a mum. That's not the best advice I'd ever give anyone. Like, you know, if you've got boobs
in the face, in a good way.
Definitely, you know, stay on top of it. Do your monthly checks and just know your body. Same thing if you are concerned, like you've got a lump or a sore or something that just isn't right and you get fobbed off at a GP, go to another one. You know, I know with mum, she had a sore nipple and went to the GP and they basically said it's nothing, and she said, well, we've got a strong history of breast cancer in our family. Do you want to do checks or something? And they're like, no, breast cancer doesn't make your nipple sore. So mum left it because, you know, you trust, you know, and if it wasn't for Hayley, which is my cousin, she, taking mum in, and mum decided just to get her genetics tested. And then, because as soon as you're positive, you go, now I've got to remember how this goes. I feel like it's so long ago. As soon as you have a positive test, then you have MRI, mammogram, and there's another scan that you have. I can't remember what it was. Maybe a CT scan, but don't quote me on that. But there's like three different scans that you have. So they obviously check your breast density, any lumps, any abnormalities, can't even say that. And all that kind of stuff. And then obviously they've got all the scans if you go down the mastectomy path. So that was how they picked up mums.
Wow. Isn't that crazy to think about? That's heavy. We need to make book a date with your girlfriends now and go as a group, like make a day of it. You know, we talk about it all the time. And even now thinking about it, I'm way overdue for a pap smear. Like, I don't think I've ever had my breast checked. Like, I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? Gotta go.
Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. It's just like just taking that time. And I still do a breast check now, even though I don't have because I've still got, so obviously near my skin I've still got some breast tissue there. So And then, and then there's always things that can happen when you've got implants because it's a foreign body in your body. So I still check, excuse me, sorry. I still check my breasts every couple of weeks just to, make sure that everything feels the same and nothing's changed, sort of thing. Just to, stay on top of it.
Yeah. No, I think definitely. I think if anything comes from this and sharing your story and everybody hearing what you had to say today, it's definitely that universal sign that we should all go get checked. And I think the biggest takeaway from me from listening to you is, trust your gut. Don't take no for an answer. Make sure that this is a priority for you. And I think, again, having the right support in place as well, because this is such a major thing for you in your life and it was traumatic for you and you got through it. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
That's okay. Well, I think definitely we discussed, Mardi and I are going to leave the Pink Hope website and foundation details in the description of this episode, because we would love for you guys to just check it out no matter where you are on your journey. If you're just curious, maybe you have friends or family that are going through something similar and you want them to get some information, we'll leave it in there. But as Mardi mentioned, you are a health and fitness coach and you work with women with their confidence, especially if they've been through something similar or they don't like what they see in the mirror. Would you like to tell them a little bit about what you do in your fitness coaching and then where they can find you?
Sure. So I am the traveling coach and I specialize in weight training for women. So just working with women that come in with no self-confidence, want to change their body composition and just work through that mindset kind of thing as well. So that's what we do. And it's all online because I'm currently traveling Australia. So one day when I find a house, I will have a studio again. But for now, everything's all online and that's what we do.
That is amazing. And who better to be coached than someone that has been through something so incredible, especially your mindset and coming out on the other end of that. So I would trust no one better than you to teach me about my mindset. So and then where can they find you? You have your Instagram's just traveling coach or?
Yeah, so Instagram, the traveling coach, also on Facebook as well.
Amazing.
And that's us.
Fantastic. And I will leave everything for you guys in the show notes, all the links. I'm looking off to the side because my cat's here getting pets. He always shows up last minute, I want some attention. So that's why I keep looking off the screen. But thank you so much again, Mardi. It's been an absolute pleasure having you. And thank you for sharing such an incredible story.
Thanks for having me.